Well, America's schools appear to be crumbling right before our eyes, both physically and metaphorically, of course. Test scores for America's children at the lowest levels they've been in a generation. Leftist politicians seem more concerned about drag shows for children than teaching our kids algebra and English. So is there a war on America's children? That's the opinion of our next guest, Leila Centner. Leila is the chief executive officer at the Centner Academy in Miami. And she's on a mission to build schools that put kids first instead of political ideology. So far, Leila has 2 schools that are opened in Florida, working on a 3rd one right now. And Leila joins us from Miami, Florida. Nice to see you, and thanks for the work that you're doing.
Nice seeing you, and thank you for having me.
So you're hiring like crazy right now. These 2 schools, you're hiring teachers, you're hiring staff. So there's an absolute demand right now for these schools. What made you decide to start your own schools in Florida?
Well, our original inspiration was our 2-year-old daughter at the time. She's 8 now. And we were living in New York, and we toured the best of the best schools in New York. And I looked at my husband and I said, wow. If this is the best, we're in trouble. And this is before I had any awareness of the woke insanity, the indoctrination madness that's happening today. I had no idea. It was just all the other things that I saw. You know, I'm super big into a holistic way of life. I'm big into eating very healthy, which is why we built a farm for our school. So we feed our kids farm to table, gluten-free, nothing processed, no GMOs. Which is exactly how we eat at home. The food I eat at home.
So not the government food pyramid school lunch program garbage that we feed our children in the United States?
No, our kids have an amazing salad bar. And when we source our locally sourced meat, we make sure we call up the farmers and say, look, you say you're organic, but we want to make sure you are not giving your cows any mRNA vaccines, which, by the way, is a thing in the U.S. now, believe it or not. And organic farmers are doing this, believe it or not. So we're very, very meticulous about everything that's in our school, because what I do there, I copy at home. You know, so I built an incredible water filtration system. Our kids across the country are drinking water from their school fountains that are filled with lead and aluminum and all sorts of insane toxins, arsenic.
I'll just tell you a quick story. We lived in New Jersey, and the water in New Jersey is so bad. And I mean, toxic levels of lead, arsenic, you wouldn't believe. And the cost to put that inside of a home is prohibitively expensive, but they're not putting it in the schools, and the children are drinking that every day. So you've put that in your schools as well.
Absolutely. Anything that's in my school is good enough for me to eat and drink at home. And that's the way I live with everything that's in our school. In fact, the 3rd campus that we're building is a fortress. You know, I have complete 5G blocking it out in every way, you know, EMF blockers in the paint, in the windows, in the floor. I've hardwired everything so that way the kids aren't sitting there with, you know, all of this 5G attacking their brains while they're trying to study. I mean, we really went all out, because it's like these kids aren't just kids. They're our kids. We're a family. I look at every child as a child that's part of our community, part of our tribe, part of a bigger ecosystem of our future leaders that are going to be here to make this world a better place. So from head to toe, inside and out, I want their souls and their hearts and their bodies to be feeling good at all times.
You wrote a piece recently for FoxNews.com where you talked about Florida's school system and what DeSantis has been able to do at the schools there. One of the things that you were very passionate about is making sure that your teachers weren't forced to get COVID vaccines, that there wasn't any kind of mandate pushing your teachers at your schools to do that. And you've also written in this Fox News piece that you really believe that our children are under attack, that there is a war on for our children right now, this future generation. Can you describe what you're seeing?
When you said there is a war, my whole body got chills from my toes to my head. There is a war. When you have drag queens that look like scary monsters, and I'm saying this because I've seen videos of this, with little kids sitting on their laps while they're reading them stories. That is not a real world situation that we want our kids in. I mean, I'm an adult. If I saw that right in front of me, I would be scared. You know, why are we doing this to our kids? Why are we confusing them, letting them think that this is actually an option? It's just, I can't wrap my brain around it. The only thing that I keep coming to is this is a war. It's a spiritual war. And unless we work as hard as we can work to fight back and keep the souls of our children, they're going to sexualize them, demonize them, and just continue to beat down their self-esteem and confidence. We do the complete opposite.
Now,
We're teaching.
I was going to say, how do you do this at your schools to make sure that woke ideology is not pervading your schools? How do you keep it out of there?
Well, our interview process, first of all, is extremely strict. You won't even make it past the HR lady if any of your ideologies are in alignment with the woke insanity that's happening today. So critical race theory, if you are in any way aligned with critical race theory, you're not going to get past the front door. Gender confusion, supporting BLM, obviously a terrorist organization, supporting, the list goes on of everything that's out there.
So if I come in with pronouns, if I come in with they, them pronouns on my resume, would I get a job?
You won't even get a call back. You won't even. We're very strict about it. And even if they answer all the right questions the first time, they're going to get tested another 5 times before they get hired. And really, that's the only way to keep our children safe. Because you have a teacher that has, 18 kids in a class, and you can't be monitoring them 24 hours a day. Yes, we have cameras, we do quality control, we do all of that. But unless you have a person aligned, you don't know what that person is going to sneak into their lesson plans. And so unless they're aligned with our value system, we won't, you'll never 100% know. But for us, because our teachers are extremely aligned, and COVID was a blessing in disguise because it was like this, this wave that went through our school and it divided us because we didn't even know there was this division. And the teachers who were way on that side left, and the teachers who were aligned stayed with us. And what came about was, we were all together on this. We want our kids to be kids. We want them playing with toys, playing with dolls, critical thinking, problem solving, not being forced to be in this obedient little box. We want them challenging us. We want them to love school, and we want them passionate about learning without any of this other noise of them being indoctrinated with things that should absolutely not be in a school. Look, if you're a parent and you want to confuse your child's gender, that's in your hands, not in ours. We stay away. Boys are boys, girls are girls. Period. End of story. We don't want to teach a 5-year-old boy-girl sex. Why would we teach them boy-boy sex or girl-girl sex? Why? A 5-year-old should not be thinking about sex, period.
Right. Let's talk about the academics, which, of course, I talked about the top test scores have been plummeting across the United States. Obviously, COVID lockdowns had a huge part of it, virtual learning, all of that. So I imagine the focus there has to be on academics as well, right? So
Absolutely.
How do you make sure that that's at the top of the list?
Look, I graduated USC magna cum laude, so I obviously am a big believer in academics. But the way we teach our kids is hands-on experiential learning. So when I went to USC, my favorite classes were the classes where I got to dive into things. I got to touch things. I got to, understand at a deeper level. Rote memorization doesn't work. And so we don't teach our kids rote memorization. They do hands-on projects, because when you can touch and feel things, when you can actually understand the area of a triangle and compare it and build a house and show the area of a triangle on a house, you will truly understand what an area of a triangle means in the real world. And you're not going to forget it versus just memorizing the formula. right? And so our kids are extremely bright. At the age of 7 years old, 8 years old, they're already doing Shark Tanks because we have an amazing entrepreneurship program where they are presenting their ideas in front of a group of parents, asking for money to build their business where they're going to build their product or service and sell it in a marketplace. These are skills that I didn't get until I was in college. They're learning eye
No.
contact, they're learning charisma, they're learning emotional intelligence, they're learning real world skills. So when they graduate at 18, whether they're going to their college of their choice or they're becoming entrepreneurs, they are ready, they will be ready and equipped to handle whatever the world faces when they graduate. And as you and I know, after this COVID shenanigan disaster that just happened, we don't know what they're planning, in the next 4 to 6 years. In the next 2 years, we need to make sure they're ready and equipped. So we teach them try and teach them to have strong emotional skills so they can handle stressful situations. They meditate, they have breathing techniques. We have a mindfulness corner. So if somebody is stressed or anxious, they can go sit there, they can have different smells, they can meditate, they can try and bring their mind to a silence and just really have those tools in their own handbag. So when life throws them a curveball, they're able to handle it without falling on the floor and collapsing from stress and anxiety, which you have seen a lot of kids experience now because of what they went through with COVID. They have PTSD and they don't know how to handle it, except our kids. Our kids are amazing. They were really, really in a bubble.
Yeah, instead of these kids throwing themselves on the floor and whining and complaining and asking you to solve their problems, like allowing them to go off. We used to do this with our kids when they were little. If you can cry, you're going to go over in the crying room. That room over there is now the crying room. You go figure it out. You go spend some time quietly, meditate, cry it out, figure it out, and then come back. And they'd always come back well adjusted and calm down and able to process things. I love that. I'll get you out of here on this question, which on school choice. So obviously this is a big discussion in Washington on school choice. During the national campaign, of course, Kevin McCarthy ran on this idea of the proposed Parents' Bill of Rights, calling for parents basically to know what's being taught in their children's schools, aware of like how money is being allocated. Are they spending money on drag shows, or are they spending money on education and good meals for the food for their children? Should parents have a deep knowledge? Because the left has said we don't want parents really meddling in schools. Like this will hurt America's education system if parents get their hands in the school system. What do you say to that?
Of course, that's the Rockefeller approach, right? Rockefeller designed the current education system, and he designed it to be indoctrination camps where he's spitting out just worker bees who aren't going to challenge authority. They're not going to challenge anything. And so the left does not want parents in their education system because they know they're going to disagree with what they're doing. I say, bring it on, come. Whatever you want to know, we're open doors because we want you to know everything that we're doing because we have nothing to hide. And if you have a great idea, bring it on. We'd like to know. Help us grow and be better, because if we're aligned, which we are, your input's going to be invaluable to me. And so I love freedom of choice, and hopefully it will cause public schools to be more on their toes and not just deliver what the left side of the politics want them to deliver. They'll actually deliver what the parents want and need, because every community is different.
Well, I love what you're doing, and I wanted to be able to give voice to this. And look, if we've got any young teachers out there or older teachers that are interested in coming to work at one of your schools in Florida, you guys are hiring right now. Where's the website? Where can people go if they want to come work at your school as a teacher or other staff member?
So they can go to centneracademy.com. That's CENTNER academy.com. And we have a careers link on our website. We also have a great Instagram, Centner Academy, which shows a lot of videos of everything that we do at school. So you can go and watch the Instagram and see if it excites you. But we are all looking for passionate, aligned teachers who have understand this holistic way of life that we have, who understand that we want to help our kids find their passion in life. We don't want to keep them in a box. We want them to question everything. We want them to critically think. We want them to problem solve. But most importantly, we want them to love to learn.